How y'all doing? I'm Paul Ryan, your host of the Across the Cowboys podcast. If you're new to the show, thank you for joining us. And to our regular listeners, welcome back. Guys, unfortunately, the greatest co-host in the world, Mike the Pig Crumb, can't be here tonight. So making his Offsides debut, please welcome back the newest member of the Across the Cowboys family, Brendan Fergie Smith, to the show. Brendan, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Paul. It's good seeing you again. It was fun doing Monday, but we did miss you.
Yeah, hey man, I watched the episode. I thought you guys did great. It was a nice discussion for sure.
Yeah. I have to be, my name has to be Fergie, with being the conductor and all of the Ferguson hype train. So thank you.
I almost put Fergalicious there, but I was like, you know what? I think we'll stick with Fergie.
I still remember that chat on Twitter.
Well, Brendan, you mentioned Twitter. Where can we find you there, sir?
You can find me at Brendan_Smith26.
Yes, sir. Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. Well, Brendan, this was supposed to be an episode of Offsides where we bring on a fan of the opposing team the Cowboys are playing to discuss the matchup, what it's like being a fan of the team, and everything in between. Unfortunately, because of some time restrictions, if you want to call it that, our guest has yet to show up. If he does, we'll be gladly add him in. But we figured since he didn't show up, I guess you and I can just chop it up and talk a little bit about this Jets-Cowboys game.
I'm super excited. It's always fun to talk some ball.
Yeah, Brendan, I am curious. What are your thoughts on this Jets team, of course, without Aaron Rodgers?
Well, first off, it does hurt whenever you lose a top 10 quarterback for any team. It hurts you.
Yes.
But their defense is stellar. They beat Buffalo, even though Josh Allen himself, with 3 turnovers.
Right.
So, but their defense is good. Their run game, even though it's steadily with Breece Hall's one big run, that killed the Buffalo Bills too. So that makes me scared because that first drive against the Giants, we couldn't stop Daniel Jones or Saquon. We didn't. But that blocked field goal, and then, we all know what happened from there.
Big momentum shift for sure. But the Jets do have that blueprint of a team that could give this Cowboys team a lot of problems.
Completely agree.
We know that Zach Wilson has a lot to prove as a quarterback, but you look at the weapons you mentioned, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, and then of course they have veteran guys like Alan Lazard, McCole Hardman, who can stretch the field, take it to the house at any given moment, and a veteran like Randall Cobb. If we were to get into a shootout with the Jets, do you think that the Jets with Zach Wilson at quarterback could keep up? Are you worried about that offense at all?
I think it's going to always be chunk plays because you'll see a random 20-yard gain and you're like, why would this ever happen? But you have former Defensive Player of the Year, Stephon Gilmore on one side. You have Diggs on the other. And, of course, you'll have Malik Hooker and maybe Kerr sometimes in the back end. Hooker for sure. So I'm not terribly worried. We just got to get him in those down and distance to throw.
Yeah, you mentioned the game against Buffalo. Josh Allen had 4 total turnovers. We've known Dak when he's trying to force things, has been susceptible to turnovers. We saw last year with 15 interceptions. Would you be concerned at all about this defense giving Dak issues and him also having a multiple turnover game?
That's a very good question. The problem with that is I think Mike McCarthy likes to do quick game. He likes to do slants because the West Coast, they call it Texas Coast. They like doing that. They'll get it out to the running backs fast. But it's all depending on if our offensive line can hold up against their defensive line. Quentin Williams could have a big game with Tyler Smith might not be playing this weekend as well.
Yeah, that was a concern that I had last week about the Cowboys offensive line with potentially not having Tyron Smith and both Tyler Smith. Of course, we saw Tyron play and have a good game, but Tyler Smith wasn't there. And our offensive line held up pretty well. But I'd like to think that this Jets defensive line is actually a little bit better than the Giants defensive line.
I don't know interior because they have Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence. Quentin Williams is a beast. I was on the hype train of hey, let's trade for Quentin, but it's more about their edges and see if Steele and Tyron can actually hold up.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. We know that Aaron Rodgers isn't playing, Brendan, but I'm curious, how does that affect the players in fantasy, the Jets players in fantasy? What are you doing with these guys?
I think running backs, if you have them on your bench, start them. I feel like they're going to pound the rock as much as possible against this Cowboys defense.
Yeah.
But you can only start Garrett Wilson. Maybe Lazard somehow has a big game, but it's going to be Garrett Wilson who's the number one, and then the running backs. I don't see anyone else doing anything unless Random Cobb wants to have a revenge game against us, which I would cry.
Yeah, I only have Garrett Wilson on one team, and I was actually debating if I wanted to start him. If you had him somewhere, you think he's a must start?
It depends on who you have. I hopefully don't think he's going to have a big game because, like I said, you have All-Pro Stephon Gilmore and All-Pro Trayvon Diggs. So I don't know where he's going to go, but hopefully he doesn't. But it's Dallas. We'll somehow give up something.
Yeah, I mean, the competitor in me, of course, wants to see a good game, a close game, something that keeps you interested for the entire time. But I am kind of curious. Zach Wilson being a mobile quarterback, we know that he has some accuracy issues. I just wonder if his mobility and his receivers' playmaking ability, if that could kind of give us some problems. Are you at all worried that the Jets could kind of take a lead and then maybe the Cowboys could trip over themselves at all?
And Dan Quinn, we trust, baby.
Yeah,
he's gonna have Dante Fowler on the on edge, speedy defensive end. Of course, Micah wherever rushing against a guard, center, or the other tackle. I think we'll have speed, and also DeMarcus Lawrence is gonna allow that to happen.
So, if you're Dan Quinn, what's your game plan against Zach Wilson in this Jets offense?
You QB contain. If they have a tight end, you slide to that side of the field, but just get them in down and distance where they have to throw it, and let your defense tee off.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty confident that we'll beat this Jets team. I'm not very confident in Zach Wilson and his abilities, but I guess it's the old Cowboys fan in me where we've seen teams like this give us problems, and should have never been a ball game. But we find ourselves in the losing end of these games. It's weird.
I completely agree, but also you got to think our offense didn't look as good as we think it should because it was pouring down rain.
Yeah.
Dak could have had some better reads sometimes, yes. But also our tight ends were dropping everything. He should have had a 71% completion percentage, I think it was showing, if the tight ends didn't drop the passes. But I think we'll be fine. But I'm ready for Tony Pollard just to pop off.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. One of the Cowboys' issues of the past was playing down to their competition. Of course, when you have a guy like Aaron Rodgers, you have a totally different game plan when you go from Aaron Rodgers to a Zach Wilson. But should the Cowboys kind of stick to that same game plan, do you think, that they had for Aaron Rodgers and just pretend that he's still kind of there, if that makes sense?
I feel like you keep it on the back burner, but you should at first load the box and to see if he can beat you. And by the second and third quarter, if he's like, oh shit, hey, this isn't working, then you go to your normal game plan. But right now, I think Dan Quinn is just licking his lips like, oh, we have that guy? Okay, let's have some fun.
When you look at their running backs, Breece Hall, Dalvin Cook, and Michael Carter, those three, who concerns you the most?
I would say Breece Hall, but they're saying he's going to be on a snap count still this game. So that means he's not 100% healthy. He has the breakaway speed to go 83 yards, it was, I think, against the Bills. So he can do anything to us, and I wouldn't be shocked. But I guess technically if you go health-wise, it's got to be Dalvin for at least the fourth quarter.
Yeah, my thing is I could see the Jets trying to get creative, just because of circumstances and it being a bit of like a three-headed trio where they use a little bit of Breece, they mix in Dalvin, and then out of nowhere, here comes Michael Carter, who's getting receptions out of the backfield and breaking off like big gains, like 15 yard plays, and they're kind of just sustaining drives and keeping our offense off the field.
Damone Clark, that's all I have to say about that. He's so speedy, man.
Yeah. Well, so what looking at their defense, how could their defense give our offense problems?
First off, I'm going to say this before any Jets fans give me any slack. I think Sauce Gardner is a phenomenal corner. I do think he is. I do think he's a little overrated. I think he's going to get in the face. I think he's going to get in the face of CeeDee Lamb. But dude, CeeDee's route running and his explosiveness is just off the charts. I think he's going to deal that. My guy Ferguson, he has some drops, but guess what? AT&T, It's gonna be super dry in there, man. It's gonna be like 72 degrees, perfect weather. He'll pop off, but it's gonna be that defensive line. It's that scares me.
We were talking pre-roll that there's a chance Brandon Cook might not play, and insert Jalen Tolbert. Could he be the secret weapon on offense that puts us over the top?
I think he's going to do some good plays. I think, of course, he's going to do a lot better than he did in that Packer game. I don't even want to think about that broken, stupid play he did. But I think, besides my biasness with Ferguson, I think it's going to be Michael Gallup. Sauce is going to have his hands full with CeeDee Lamb. I don't even know. I know Jordan Whitehead, who had all those INTs last game, but if he's a safety, Michael Gallup's healthy. He showed that last game. Even though he caught that ball out of bounds, he went up for it. I think that go ball is going to be back, and it's going to be beautiful.
It would be nice to see Michael Gallup have a good game. I think he needs it just for a confidence boost. I know that he's feeling better than he did last year, but it would be nice to see him have a big game and be the piece to this offense that we signed him to be.
I think he will, mainly because he's going to have to, if Cooks doesn't play, he's going to have to show up. It's not like he's a complimentary piece. This game, he'll be one of the key contributors on offense. Unless Devontae Turpin pops off. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad. I mean, it was, he probably had my favorite touchdown of the night last week, Devontae Turpin, just because I was talking about it with Mike when we did our Offsides episode with our guest last week, that we wanted to see Devontae Turpin have a return touchdown just for a confidence boost and to add that element of special teams to this team to be, what would be more considered a complete team.
But he didn't. He had a rushing touchdown.
No, but I'm just saying it's still a confidence booster. And the fact that our offense was getting him involved, that says a lot.
No, I've seen people talking on Twitter about this, which I completely agree. He is what we wanted Tavon Austin to be in this offense.
Yeah, agreed.
And also, TCU fan, I wear Devontae Turpin's jersey. I wore it during the game. I felt pretty dang proud about it.
Will you be wearing your Devontae Turpin jersey again this week?
Oh, of course. I have to. After last week's performance, I have to.
Are you a superstitious fan? Like, let's just say Devontae Turpin didn't score a touchdown last week and the Cowboys lost. Would you wear a different jersey or would you stick with the Turpin jersey?
I only have two, so I don't have many to choose from. I went to the Dallas game 2 years ago. I bought a Leighton Vander Esch jersey because it had the 1960s patch on it. So it's clean, but I gotta rock with my TCU guy. He might piss me off.
I don't see a lot of Vander Esch jerseys, man.
What can I say? I don't like going for the big name players. I love Micah. I love CD. I love Dak, but it's much more fun when you have a player you just root for who does an occasional splash play.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I guess you could call me superstitious because the last, like, me and my wife, we've been married going on 5 years, right? The first year we got married, she bought me the Zeke jersey, and then it was the year he was holding out, but he ended up signing the big deal. I wear the jersey for the game where we get blown out by the Packers in 2019. So I don't wear my jersey again. 2020, I wear the jersey first game of the year. We lose on a BS call. I don't wear my jersey again. And of course, we know what happened to Dak Prescott. 2021, I wear my jersey on opening night. We lost again. I don't wear it anymore. Then last year, 2022, I wore it again on the first week of the season. We lost that week. So I don't know. I feel like I should not wear jerseys anymore.
I guess just this is gonna sound super selfish, but since I'm going to the Jets game, if you just didn't have to, I would like to have a good time.
Yeah, it's funny. Since me and Mike, he has this thing where every time he goes to Disney World during a Cowboys game, we always lose. And sure enough, I don't think since we've been doing this pod, when he goes to Disney World, I'm not sure we've won a game since he's done that.
All right, so what we need to do is get a hold of his traveling financials. We just gotta stop that every
Yeah.
Sunday and Monday. Like, hey, you're not going anywhere.
As much as I like those churro picks, Mike, you got to stay home this time, depending on what our record is, sir.
Hey, just hold it off for one more day. You can travel on Tuesday. And it's good. No one's gonna be at Disney World on a Tuesday. Come on.
Right,
Man,
right.
Think about it.
Hey, the Cowboys games are always more important than any trip to Disneyland.
Hopefully, at the end of the season, that's where they're going, is a Disneyland. So,
You mentioned a pre-roll that you were going to the game this week. Is that what kind of experience is that like? Is this isn't your first game, I assume, but what is it like going to Texas to AT&T Stadium rather for a game?
it honestly, like, Jerry Jones gets so much crap talked about him, and rightfully so. Like, he's done a lot of shady crap, and he's done some other things. That stadium is a work
State
of
the
art,
man.
It's beautiful. You walk in there and you're like, whoa. And you're walking in there. Sometimes, like, you'll see mainly Jay Tuck talk about this. Like, some of the fans don't get into the game, which I don't get it. I'm not sitting.
I don't understand how you can do that. Not get into the game while you're there.
Mm-mm. Dude, I remember I went the second regular season game I went. It was like 2 years ago against the Falcons when Dak came back from injury and we just blew them out.
Yeah.
That blocked punt for a touchdown, I don't think my voice hurt more after. I screamed so loud. It was insane, but it's an awesome experience.
So, I mean, can you talk about the day? Like, I mean, I imagine you have to get there early to park and everything, and then you want to get to your seats and stuff. Well, I mean, is it like how many hours does it add on to, before game time and stuff like that?
Well, we're going an extra hour and a half because I want to tailgate.
Right.
So I can meet everybody. But we went last time. We kind of rushed. We kind of didn't know where we were going, so we got there like 2 minutes before the game started.
Oh wow!
So technically it doesn't add much time because I only live like 30 minutes away from AT&T. But yeah.
Do you ever, when you've gone to the games, have you ever interacted with fans of the opposing team? Like, had any good experiences there?
Oh yeah, I was talking to a Giants fan when I went. Like, oh dude, when was that? Was that 2019? And then we were talking smack, but then towards the end, when we knew the Cowboys won, we were talking all good. We're more talking about fantasy, and we looked up, and he's like, "Who has 34 points? Who is that?" And we're just looking at the jumbotron, and we were just talking crap about fantasy football after that.
I've never been to New York, but the few people that I've met, rather online or like doing this podcast that are from New York, they always seem like good guys. I feel like the New Yorkers get a bad rap.
Well, it's because some fans take it overboard. Like you'll see on Twitter, like they'll say they'll have it. We have a top 10 quarterback. We have a top 3 running back. Dude, Darren Waller, best tight end in the league. And I'm like, hey, calm down here. That's not true. He had 23 total touchdowns last year with his rushing. Daniel Jones, no, calm down. Saquon's hurt, so yeah. But
it was interesting. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, I was going to say it was interesting because last week we had the guy who came on for Offsides. He's not a Giants fan, but he's a Daniel Jones truther, which is I didn't think that was actually a thing.
I remember watching it, and so he was talking about Duke football and all. It's kind of like with me with Devontae Turpin. Like I like Josh Doxson coming out, so he wasn't with Dallas, but I was hoping he would do well. He busted, but LJ Collier didn't do anything with Seattle, which sucks. Banagoo, who was now with Dallas during the preseason, didn't do anything, but I know how that feels.
Are there any guys that you watched in college that are on the Jets that might find yourself rooting for?
I don't think so. Of course, I watched some games, but not enough for me to be a fan of the player. I want blood.
Yeah, for me, it's all fantasy related. So, of course, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, those guys. I definitely want to see good for my fantasy teams, but I also just like to see players who are actually good at football succeed as well.
No, I agree. But like what you said earlier, to be a good game, I want it to be. Of course, I want to win. Duh, I want to be 17-0 by the end of the year, but that's not going to happen.
Right.
But if good games are so much more entertaining. After we were up by 30 against the Giants, I'm like, I'm tired. Like we're good here. There's nothing going to happen.
Yeah, so, they're not going to make a comeback, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching with my mom. Like we have this yearly tradition where every week one we go to my mom's. It's me and my sister, my wife, and my son and one of our cousins, and we always get Wingstop and watch the game together. And we're up 30-0, and my mom's like, "Do you still want to watch this?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, I know they're not going to come back or anything. It's kind of boring, but I do want to watch it this week one. It's fun to see to see us beat a division rival like this. But it's just funny seeing her sit there like, what's the point of watching this? We're up by 30. You already said they're not going to come back. So why do we have to keep watching?
It was super funny because my best friend's a Broncos fan, so I went to his house and we watched that game. And so after seeing, of course, the brutal ending for them, and I get nervous. I'm like, oh no, another interdivisional game. I'm like, I can't handle this. I gotta wait till 7. No. And then we just pound them. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Are you outside of the Cowboys? I'm curious. Are there any AFC teams that? I don't want to say your second favorite team because you can't worship two masters, so to speak, but is there another team that maybe you find yourself rooting for? Like, man, I'd love to face them in the Super Bowl.
The Broncos, of course, I got to be a good friend. So if they're not playing Dallas, I'll root for them. But my dad's from Cincy, so I'll say Bengals. If Dallas is ever out in the playoffs and Cincy's still there, we start to root for them.
That's cool. Yeah, I remember rooting for them in the Super Bowl actually, that turned out to be a really good game.
If it was an offensive line, yeah.
Very true. I know Mike, his dad's a Bears fan, so he finds himself rooting for the Bears quite a bit just for his dad as well.
I guess his dad didn't have a good time last year against us.
Yeah, that'd be a hard game to watch with your dad.
Yeah.
His dad actually came on Offsides and talked a little bit about the Bears matchup with us.
Dude, that's cool. That's so cool.
Yeah,
that's super fun. That's what it should be about.
So is your dad a Cowboys fan? Is everybody in the family Cowboys fans, or do you have anybody like outsiders?
My family, we have family friends who are others. Like one of my mom's good friends is a Washington fan. I love talking crap. That's a lot of fun. But no, my entire family is Cowboys.
That's cool. And do they all? I mean, I know you mentioned that you watched Turpin at TCU, so you root for him. Are they kind of the same way? Or do they have their own favorite players?
My mom doesn't know too much about football, so she doesn't really know anything. My dad, I don't even know who his favorite player would be. I guess he just roots for the Dallas to win. I don't think he cares too much about names. And then,
I hear you, man.
But of course, I am the person that my family goes to. I'm like, hey, so what do you think's going on here? I'm like, I'm still watching the game. I don't know.
Yeah, my mom, she'll ask questions like if the Cowboys have an interception and I get upset, she's like, was that a bad play? I'm like, yeah, we had the ball and we know. And she's she knows what a touchdown is and stuff, but I can appreciate that she's asking questions because she wants to know, so she can kind of keep up with the game. But it's just funny that like when we have the ball and then we don't have the ball, she's like, was that not a good play? No,
I have some friends like when if we're watching the game or they know I'm watching it and they'll text me. They know they'll either get a response really quickly or my phone's not even near me. I'm just staring at the screen. Like I won't even eat food half the time because I'm too focused on the game.
Do you have a game day ritual? Like what do you have your chair that you like to watch and do you watch in your room by yourself? Or what's your game day ritual?
I don't really have one. It depends on where we're at.
Mike has a strange one. Not to put your personal business out there, Mike, but I'm going to. He says that he watches the game. He won't answer your calls. He won't answer your texts. He's in his room by himself, and the only person that can be in there with him is his brother. I respect that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no problem. I thought you were going to say some like weird stuff.
Not that that's weird, but Mike is kind of I don't know. I'd like to think a social person, so I was kind of surprised that he would want to watch the game by himself.
Hey, those games get serious real quick. It's
Absolutely,
all funny. It's all funny games like building up to the game. Like, oh yeah, Dallas is gonna play at 3, whatever. And as soon as that first kickoff, like, oh, okay, it's time.
It's getting real now. Yeah, because when I was watching last week with my little sister and my cousin and everything, that first blocked field goal attempt for the run back for the touchdown, the way I was screaming and yelling after every interception and everything, they were like, are we winning or what's going on? I'm like, yeah, I'm just, I'm excited. We're doing well. And I was kind of scaring them.
Well, the funny thing is like my dad and I were getting hyped, but like our eyes just got wide. We were like, what? And so we just go in and high five each other. But we're like, oh, like, how is this happening?
Yeah. No, yeah, I hear that. I was not expecting a beating like that. Still, it just, I don't want to say it didn't feel real, but it was just like, man, I thought we were going to lose. I thought it was going to be a close game, but for us to come out and dominate like this, it just really didn't make any sense.
I don't know. It felt like a fever dream.
Yeah. Could you see this game at all going that way? I mean, I know Zach Wilson's bad, but there's things to like about this Jets team. I'd be shocked again if the Cowboys did something similar again.
It's tough. Well, now I know what our defense is capable of. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And also, hopefully, your offense clicks better than what it did, because like that wasn't that great of a showing, but we still won 40-0, so can't say much. But it all depends. I can see Zach Wilson throwing his game away early, and then we already see Cooper Rush back in.
Do you think that their defense, when you look at Dak Prescott and just our weapons on offense, how much does the Jets defense worry you at all?
Well, apparently Jordan Whitehead's going to lead the league in interceptions. So
yeah,
you know,
he's on pace for over 50, right?
Honestly, yeah. But their secondary, but it's really their front seven. Like I said, their pass rush against, if they can get in Dak, is Dak's good against the blitz, but if he has someone chasing after him, he sometimes doesn't make the best read.
But, that's right.
But I don't know. I can see both ways. Like I can see the Giants game. We lose by 3. I can see us getting blown out. Like our offense is rusty. Our defense is trying to take care of it, but our offense keeps giving the ball away. If that didn't happen.
You know, I thought Mike brought up a good point about what this offense could be under McCarthy, and he was making bringing up the point that, like, at one point the Cowboys were up going into halftime. I don't remember what the score was, but he was saying that it was 3rd and 10, and instead of like trying to force a first down or get a first down, McCarthy just ran the ball and we punted the ball away. And in a situation like that, maybe Kellen Moore might have wanted to get a first down and put Dak in a situation to potentially cause a turnover. And I like what he was saying is that McCarthy won't do that. He won't try to force anything. That if there's nothing really to gain. If it's when you're up like by 10 plus points or 20 plus points, what's the point of getting a meaningless first down before the half?
No, I agree. That is a lot smarter. Also, Kellen Moore, even though they score a lot of points, you can see the plays against the Dolphins. It wasn't pretty. It just, luckily you have Justin Herbert, who's an otherworldly talent. But the main problem we had with Jason Garrett. You get too cute and you get too like acting like a baby. Like, oh, dude, me and my friend make the joke. Jason Garrett, halfback draw. Those two go together perfectly. And so I'm fine with going to halftime. Let's not rush anything. But if it gets like into third or fourth quarter, hey, we need this first down. No, we're gonna run the ball. I'm like, Tony Pollard's talented. Don't do that to him. I can't see McCarthy playing that way. But yeah, you do bring up a good point. Like, how risk averse will McCarthy be? Yeah, Jason Garrett's in the booth for a reason.
Yeah, is he actually in the booth, man? I'd love to hear his commentary because, as stale as his play calling was, I can't imagine what he would be like as a commentator.
Well, I think he does it for why am I
was it Duke?
No, the Fighting Irish. I know he did
Oh, really? Notre Dame.
I know he did at least one game, but he was there for what they do on the field stuff before the game.
Oh, okay.
They were showing Jason Garrett. But
I gotcha. Well, based on the tone of this conversation, I feel like this is an obvious answer to this question, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Who do you think is going to win this game?
Dallas, easily. I'll never say. I'll feel a little bit worried. Like when we play San Fran, I'm not going to be super cocky. I'm always going to say Dallas.
Yeah.
But this one, come on.
Yeah, without Aaron Rodgers, this should be a pretty easy victory for the Cowboys, man. Give me Dallas as well, Brendan. Who do you think is going to score the first touchdown?
I tried speaking into existence last week. I'm speaking into existence this week. Jake Ferguson is like a stopper and out route in the end zone, and we score.
I don't know. I like I think we're going to be good. We're going to be that team that goes with the hot hand approach here. And Tony Pollard looked to have the hot hand last week, so I think Tony Pollard's going to score the first touchdown.
I will keep speaking Jake Ferguson every time.
I wouldn't be mad at it, man, as long as it's a Cowboys player.
This is true. I'm sorry, I didn't have Noah Ikbenogany on my bingo card for that touchdown, so
Watch it be Wanye Thomas scores a touchdown, which I wouldn't even be mad at all.
No, I'm after watching that and then seeing interviews with him, I'm rooting for the kid. He's such a great guy. It's awesome.
Man, the guys that showed up last week for our defense, like Wanye Thomas, and just obviously this guy's made a lot of plays for us, but the plays that Trayvon Diggs was making, it was crazy, man.
Yeah, dude, Mike and I were talking about that. Him against the not against the run, but against the checkdowns, popping the crap out of Saquon for a touchdown. Are you kidding me? Makes me think of the Bengal game.
Adding that big hit, like physical element to his game, and just being a true blue complete corner. I was not expecting to see that, man. Especially after he got paid, and I didn't think he was going to be the guy who gets paid and like regresses or anything. But to just get even better, I didn't expect that.
Dude, it just goes to show what this coaching staff has done.
Yeah.
Like, because like Dallas, of course, in the past, like I've always like cried for interceptions. I'm like, please, just let me see something. Then you see Diggs get interceptions on like Byron Jones. And you're like, well, dude, we can't stop the run. And you see Trayvon Diggs like last year against the Bengals and Joe Mixon, pops the hell out of them, absolutely lays them out. And you're like, that's my number one corner.
Yeah. Yeah, him and Stephon Gilmore just complement each other so beautifully now.
Dude, the first play that was thrown to Stephon Gilmore, he picks it off. Like, what?
It was insane because I was looking at the stats. I guess it was for fantasy or something, and I was looking at the Giants players on fantasy. And a point in the third quarter, no receiver had a reception or a yard.
Oh, dude, Dallas's defense had like 44 points. Those are my dogs going completely
We're getting
insane.
them all fired up for the game, man.
Of course. Yeah, this is what they do. I wish I had soundproofing in here, but
no, you're good.
Do we get Chewbacca in this time?
No, I put my phone on mute this time. No sound effects on my end, so.
Wow, look at here, Mr. Professional.
But no, I mean, yeah, we're leaving out Bland, who also had a big play. I believe he also had a pick six as well. I mean, our secondary was just absolutely filthy. And
was that a pick or a fumble recovery for a touchdown? I thought it was a fumble recovery.
Well, I guess he forced a fumble and it popped into his hands, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that's considered a
well, I don't know.
Recovery.
They counted it as an INT for Bland, I believe. But I was like, I don't know. I saw like 2 or 3 steps on Saquon, and then of course the number 7 fly out of nowhere and pop him. That game was nuts.
Who I'm excited to see their second week, Marquise Bell.
Bro.
Dude, I could not believe my eyes watching him play. Just the guys, Wanya Thomas and Marquise Bell. I was pleasantly surprised to see their performance with the other guys in our defense. But man, just those two guys playing the way that they did with the other players, the superstars, if you want to call them that, of course, Micah Parsons, but Trayvon Diggs and Stephon Gilmore. Man, just having guys like that to round out that defense this could be a very, very special team, man.
I just like how they shut me up. I was worried when we let Jabril Cox go. Not because he's a crazy talent. I'm like, dude, you have like no depth. Dan Quinn's like, I don't care. These guys are playing linebacker. You can see safety next to the name. They're playing linebacker. I don't care. You'll see everybody load the box.
Yeah, Marquise Bell, he made a few plays where I was like, man, I don't know much about this guy. I'm not a player evaluator or anything, but I did not know what to expect from him. I definitely didn't expect this.
And the thing is, if you remember from my second ever episode on here, he was my surprise person that made the roster.
Oh, yeah.
And his first big play was a blocked kick. That's insane. And he had a great breakup, too. Like, everything was just phenomenal.
It's just nice to see those guys that are those later round draft picks who don't have the draft capital, don't have the money, who get an actual chance to play, unlike the previous regime that we let so much talent go because of, for whatever reason, probably a BS reason. They weren't Garrett guys and, they ended up doing well somewhere else. But it's nice to see those guys doing something here for once.
And the craziest thing is Wanya Thomas and Marquise Bell, the two people we're talking about, undrafted.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Undrafted.
Yes, sir. All right, before we go off onto a long tangent here, Brendan, I did want to ask. We're both fantasy guys. Well, who do you think will score the most fantasy points this week? In this game, rather. Excuse me.
Oh, in this game. Oh, okay. I'm gonna say I don't want to know if I want to go against Tyreek Hill again.
Oh man, he's a monster, dude. Imagine having a guy like that on the Cowboys. Sorry.
No, you're good. Oh, Kevontae Turpin. But
please, I welcome that.
I guess I would say Tony Pollard. because I don't think CeeDee Lamb would be too involved with Sauce Gardner following him around.
Exactly. Yeah.
But do I want to go at it? You know what? Dallas's defense again. That's who I'm putting.
Hey, I like it, man. Zach Wilson, he's going to be good for at least one interception, I'd imagine. So I don't hate that pick. I believe the Dallas defense scored the most points last week in that Giants game. So I like that pick a lot. I played a little bit safe myself here, though. Similar to last week, I see this being another Tony Pollard game. So I'll go with Mr. Tony Pollard.
Dallas's defense had 44 points in fantasy. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. I have a guy that I work with. It's a small league, but he had the Dallas defense and he benched him, and I think that was the difference in him winning and losing.
Wait, what defense did he have?
The Lions. He's a Lions guy. I mean, he drafted like 6 Lions in our draft.
Okay, but I get that. But even in general, if you have both, you either have your defense, whatever defense, face Patrick Mahomes, even though the pick 6 was great. Or do you have to have Dallas defense versus Daniel Jones? Come on.
Exactly. He's a homer, man. He's a big homer.
Yeah. Well, William Spencer wouldn't allow me to draft any of my homer guys. He took Dallas's defense. I wanted Jake Ferguson. He took Jake Ferguson. Someone took Deuce Vaughn. My name is Deuce against all. I couldn't have Deuce Vaughn. It annoyed me so much.
Now that I think about that, man, I was actually in that draft drafting for Pig. I didn't realize that you were in that draft.
Yeah, I was the one who got Diggs in the first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was the guy who accidentally got auto drafted the first pick.
Well, hey, it's for Mike anyway, man. It's for Mike.
Exactly. It's a fun league. It's a free league, so who cares, right?
Yeah.
All right, what's your score prediction for this week, Brendan?
28-10 for Dallas.
I like it. I have a 37 here. I see the Dallas defense getting a couple of turnovers early in this game and putting it out of reach early as well, kind of similar to last week. You know, I like what the Jets are doing. I was excited to see Aaron Rodgers play, so I don't want to root against Zach Wilson, but man, I just have no real hope for them.
But I feel like every time we think that, though, we play down a competition. Think of the Titans game last year. They had no reason to be anywhere near that game, and we still kept them in. So I of course, I'm Team 40 Burger. Dude, we can have that multiple weeks. Oh, dude, give it to me. But
for sure.
I want to play a little bit cautious, even though I'm saying that we scored 28. That's still insane.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. Well, Brendan, man, it was, things didn't go as planned tonight, but I'm glad that you and I got to chop it up. I think this is the first time that you and I did a podcast episode. I look forward to more in the future, man.
Of course. I always have a blast talking with y'all. It's so much fun.
It really is. Before we get you out of here, remind the people they can find you on Twitter.
They can find me at Brendan_Smith26.
Oh, and Brendan, I know that you're going to the game on Sunday, but will you be hosting a Twitter space this week?
No, not only for the simple fact of EJ is flying in to Dallas Saturday, so he's all busy.
Gotcha.
And so we like to have a full team when we go live.
I appreciate it. Yeah, because, I look forward to those Twitter spaces, man. I don't get to go in there and actually talk, but I like hearing everybody else contribute to the conversation, so those are always good.
Oh, it's always fun talking with other fans, man. Come on.
Absolutely. Do y'all ever have fans of the opposing team come on there? I've never seen. I always hear Cowboys talk, but nobody else talking about the other team.
Well, we found a Giants fan talk a little bit, but we mainly had a couple fans of the Raiders come in to do the Raiders preseason game, which was fun.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
it's always nice to chop it up with other fans, man.
Yeah, no, they were really respectful, and we were just able to talk. It was great.
No, that's cool. Well, guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.